What it do? Week 7 fantasy football news updates, injury updates, starts, sits, Patreon only live stream. You guys know what's good. If you guys are watching this after the fact, you can become a part of this live stream by joining the Patreon. Link is in the description there. But we are going to get right into it. We're not going to waste any time. Let's do a little in or out, and guys that are questionable that we're concerned for. So guys that are officially out already, Darren Waller with the hamstring injury, expected return timetable. I saw on Edwin's thing he has it about week 8, week 9. We know hamstrings have been finicky, especially for older players like Darren Waller. We've seen what's happened with Keenan Allen pretty much this entire season. So hopefully they're smart with him. I hope they don't rush him back. Otherwise, we might have another Keenan Allen situation here.
Yeah, no, that's going to be frustrating to deal with, to say the least. Older veteran players dealing with hamstrings are always the death of fantasy teams in midseason.
Yeah. Then we also have J.K. Dobbins out for the next 5 to 6 weeks. He's getting a knee scope. Not ideal from a dynasty perspective, also because I know Deepak expressed concern that this will flare up in the future. And they rushed him back. And this is what happens when you rush somebody back from an ACL tear that is compound. So hopefully this is buyer beware for the Denver Broncos to not do the same thing with Javonte Williams next year, because he has the same borderline, the same exact injury. And J.K. Dobbins, like, for example, Sony Michel had a knee scope done after an ACL tear, and he has kind of fallen off from an explosiveness standpoint. Because if you remember the Sony Michel from Georgia,
awesome in college.
We expected this dude to be an awesome, like him and Nick Chubb looked like the same running back. Like they looked exactly the same level of explosiveness. Sony Michel had an ACL tear, I believe, in college or in high school, and then had knee scopes in the NFL that led to him like having this injury kind of flare up. And I think that's probably, unfortunately, what's going to happen with J.K. Dobbins going forward.
Like, we recognize now Sony Michel as this, plodding, average, mid type of backup running back. But in college, this guy was legitimately, as you said, arguably a better prospect than Nick Chubb coming out.
Well, he went higher in the draft, so that proves that the NFL thought so.
Yeah, it's just a frustrating situation. If you have J.K. Dobbins, obviously you can't really do much here. A dynasty, you're kind of left holding the bag because
you got to hold until you see. I would sell him when you can, but I would probably hold him for now.
Yeah, and even when you have an opportunity to sell him, like, a lot of people are going to be hesitant to go out and buy him unless it's for an incredible deal. Like, even like, I know, like, obviously
you
would
get
take
any remote kind of first round capital, even if you have to do JK and a 2 for a first round pick. Like, I try and do it. I doubt you're going to be able to. I doubt you're going to be able to, but if you can, probably not right now because his value is going to be really low. But maybe next year, if we get some, he's finally healthy, 2 years removed from the ACL tear. People know that now. That's common knowledge, 2 years removed from the ACL tear. I'm probably not going to be in on J.K. Dobbins next year, just knowing that this stuff can flare up in the future. Again, a lot of people still have concerns with just the offense in general, receiving work in general. So I'm probably going to take the L on J.K. Dobbins. I was very high on him. He's not completely a dead asset yet. You can still get out while he has some value. I would say next year during like August or so is when he's going to start getting hype as a guy that's now 2 years removed from the ACL tear. People might be excited about him at that point. Maybe you can get a first round pick for him.
Yeah, that's probably your only hope at this point. I know you have everything listed on the show sheet, but one that's coming quickly to my mind is Jahan Dotson. Aggravated his hamstring this week, isn't expected to play in this game. Just a frustrating situation because when this guy was on the field, he looked like, that young, ascending rookie wide receiver. That
he is officially listed as questionable, though. He hasn't been ruled out yet.
He aggravated it, though, and by all accounts,
on Friday or
Thursday or Friday.
Yeah, he'll probably be out then if he re-aggravated it.
Yeah. So that's really frustrating because I just want to see this guy back on the field.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, I'll rip through the question marks real quick. Keenan Allen, apparently he's a game time decision, leaning towards playing.
He said he's going to play.
Just please sit him. Please sit him. If I have Keenan Allen in one league, just don't play him. It seems stupid for them to do it. They have a bye next week. Like, if you don't play him, he's got extra 2 weeks to recover. Apparently there's a 20% performance dip according to the data from Deepak. And there's a risk of re-injury as well. So he's already had a setback before. I would be smart with him if I was the Chargers, but it does look like he might come back, according to most reports. Russell Wilson, hamstring injury, shoulder injury, game time decision. Am I crazy for wanting to see Brett Rippon and seeing what he can do? Because they're literally the 31st best offense in the league right now in scoring. So I actually don't think it can get much worse if Russell Wilson's not playing. And in fact, I think it might even be a little bit better if he's actually this banged up. And Deepak points to the second half as the reason why the lat strain is flaring up. Like, when you have that inefficient of a half after playing pretty well in the first half, the way Russell Wilson played on Monday night, he's like, that has to be the shoulder injury that he's playing that bad. Like, I don't think he's just a bad quarterback now. He's like, I think that's the shoulder injury. So hopefully they just, rest him for a couple games, chalk it up to new quarterback, first-year coach, injuries, and maybe he can have a resurgence down the stretch. For my Jerry Jeudy bags, I'm hoping that's the case.
It's so frustrating because we saw the flash week 1 and we're like, yo, like he's going to be that guy for the rest of the season. And I have no problem still ranking him in that, wide receiver 3 type of range because of the volume, but they need some efficiency in this offense. This offense is, just to put it simply, as you kind of said, one of the worst offenses in the entire NFL.
Yeah.
The fact that you have arguably, I wouldn't say the best.
He's a Hall of Fame caliber quarterback. That you have.
No, 100%.
And he's been terrible.
But basically what I'm saying is, like, Denver's got a top 3 to 5 defense in the NFL right now. Like,
easily.
100%. Easily. Shut down corner,
their pass defense might be the best in the NFL.
And you have that type of defense, and you traded, all the capital you did in the offseason, acquired a $250 million contract, future Hall of Famer quarterback, in your, 3rd in the division and losing record?
Only the Houston Texans have scored less points than the Denver Broncos.
That can't happen.
It's wild. Yeah. And so another question mark too, we have DeAndre Swift, practice limited in a limited fashion all week. I personally lean towards him playing because he said he was going to play. But I think he's likely going to be closer to week 2 and 3's workload than he was to week 1's workload. Probably 55-60% snap share rather than like the 70% that we see out of DeAndre Swift. So he's still going to be like a back end RB1, high end RB2 for me probably in my rankings. But definitely I'm not 100% saying Swift is 100% back. And this might be actually a good window to buy him low after this week because people have been waiting for him to come back. And now that he's back, if he has a down week, then they'll be like, I'm frustrated. I'm annoyed with Swift. I'm selling him. So I've talked about Swift as like a great buy low for like a couple weeks now, but this actually might be the best week if he doesn't get his full workload this week.
Yep. Agreed with you.
Okay, and then quickly I'll rattle off the in guys. Dak Prescott's coming back. He's not even on the injury report. Grip strength, 100, not quite 100% according to Deepak, but the only thing he thinks it'll affect is if there's a lot of pressure, which the Lions don't have a very good pass rush, he might be more susceptible to fumbling the ball. But apparently it's not going to be a huge issue for him actually throwing. Jonathan Taylor is apparently back to full strength according to the timelines. May see like 90% of his workload just because it's his first week back from a multi-week absence. But Nyheim Hines is also back in this game from a concussion as well.
I was just gonna say that's a huge game for the Colts. Like, I don't like if he's healthy, I don't see them, like say they're playing the Texans, whatever. Like, you could just say, okay, first couple quarters, you do your thing, and then we're just gonna arrest you because we expect to go up. No, like they are playing basically a game.
They've played 5 division games already this year. This is their 5th division game that they've played.
What's the record in them so far? 2-2.
I think they
lost the Titans. They lost the Texans. I think
they got shut out in the first game against the Jags. What happened last week? Who won that game?
Wait, no. So they beat the Texans. They lost to the Jags. Then
the first game they lost to the. They've already played Jags twice.
Yeah. Damn.
So what happened last week? Did they win? I don't even remember.
I think that they won. I think.
Okay. Yeah, they did. They did. So the Colts they split with the Jags. They lost to the Texans.
Yeah.
Or they beat the Texans.
They are.
I believe they beat the Titans the first game also.
No, they lost the Titans.
Okay, so anyways, it's crazy that they played that many division games. And then real quick, Tua back. He's not even on the injury report. Kenny Pickett and Freiermuth both cleared the concussion protocol. They're going to be good to go for Sunday night. T. Higgins apparently called a strong buy low after the ankle injury. Should be 100%. And Amon-Ra St. Brown not on the injury report. He's 100% also.
Yeah, he's fully ready. They're 1-2-1 in the division. I forgot about that week 1 tie.
Right. They tied the Texans.
That's
they didn't
happened.
win or lose the Texans. Okay, so that is the injury news. If you guys are watching after the fact, like I said, now we're going to get into Patreon only questions. If you want to be a part of this, link in the pinned comment. Every Saturday at noon we do this. We don't have any noon Saturday college football to watch this week because Texas plays at 3:30 against Oklahoma State, big game, and Michigan is on bye. So we are going to be 100% in this live stream. Dan, first one in here. This is going to be a very, very popular question for us today and tomorrow. What do we do with Christian McCaffrey this week? Do we start him because he could be limited? He might not get a huge snap share. He's only been on the team for 2 days.
For me, he's a player that if he's active, I have to put in my lineup. I don't I'm going to obviously,
unless you're in an extremely shallow league and you have
or a
McCaffrey
dynasty league, maybe
Kenneth Walker, I'm probably playing.
I would limit my maybe you have back end RB2 level expectation because maybe he only gets a 30% snap share, but he does theoretically if he plays in this game, he's going to get the valuable touches. He can get third down work and he's probably going to get goal line work. That's what I'm assuming if you're going to play CMC at all in this game, what his role is going to be. So that still could be very valuable. Again, very like a lot more volatile because if he's not getting the inside the 20s work, obviously he can't rack up a total, high number of touches, if you will, comparative to where he was at Carolina. But it's tough. They're playing KC. They need to score points. They have arguably the best running back in the NFL. If he's active, I don't see him like just being completely like withdrawn from the game plan.
Yeah, but it also is, for what it's worth, noteworthy to say that he might just not be active. They might just not play him.
And that would be the easy solution.
Yeah, for sure, because then you just pivot. In your case, Dan, I would pivot to Rachaad White, most likely. You don't really have the greatest options there. But Colin says, have a contending dynasty team, but lost Javonte and Penny. So my running backs are now thin. I had 3 2023 first. Should I part with a likely mid-rounder to get either Cook or Kamara? I would not for those guys. If you're going to go after a player using one of those 2023 first, I would go after Travis Etienne. Because at least then you're talking about a guy that's not going to lose a ton in value, and it probably is going to gain value because James Robinson's a free agent. Even if Etienne is like a mid RB2 the rest of the year, then you get some production to help your contending dynasty roster. And also you're not going to lose a ton of value on Cook and Kamara, who you'd be lucky to get early twos for next year.
And this is my theory on this too. So if you have a contending team and it's built on a guy like Javonte Williams, realistically right now, losing Javonte and Penny, your better window anyways is going to be next year. Because if you have especially Javonte, maybe, Penny signed somewhere as a free agent, they are expected to be healthy by the time next season rolls around. And then you can add, your 3 2023 first round picks to take you from a contending team to potentially the inarguable best team in your league. So giving up first round capital mid-season to basically patchwork a negative situation always backfires on a dynasty perspective. You want to keep liquidity. You want to maintain your flexibility because realistically, you said, if you're a contender right now and you have 3 2023 first to add next year, like not only is your team going to be able to contend next year, your team's going to be in contention for like 11, 12 wins and potentially a first or second seed.
Right. And the first round next year in your rookie draft will probably have 6 or 7 running backs in it.
Yes.
Like it's going to be, or maybe not 6 or 7, but like 6 running backs. Would it be a shock if we have the top 3 that we know, Zach Evans, Tank Bigsby types? Like
Corum.
There's going to be like, there's guys that Corum. Yeah. Like there's guys that have emerged in that conversation. And also we've kind of talked about the quarterback class starting to play a little bit better now too. That also just drives the value of those picks up, right? You can always just swap those players. Maybe if DeAndre Swift never gets back to full strength this year, you might be able to swap a 2023 first that's like Hendon Hooker for a DeAndre Swift type if you add a small piece in, and that'll help your contending window next year.
Side note, I'm manifesting this right now because I by the way, I love the Carolina move. I don't know how they got so much for a running back.
Yeah, that was a great move for Carolina, 100%.
Fantastic. They basically just netted back all the picks that they got from like trading for quarterbacks, pretty much. Mm-hmm. And from their perspective, I'm just manifesting this in my head because it's just fun to think about. But you get Bryce Young or CJ Stroud, whoever you prefer, at first overall. And then you get, a Blake Corum or a Sean Tucker on day 2.
Yeah, that
would be fun.
It's crazy that the running back position, if I was in charge of an NFL team, if I was the GM of an NFL team, I think I would draft a mid-round running back every single year.
Yeah.
Like I would just like 4th, 5th round, draft yourself Khalil Herbert types every single year. You can never have too many running backs. You never have to pay a running back because you're probably going to hit on like 50% of them. Then you're good. Like the Patriots keep doing it. They draft Kevin Harris, Pierre Strong, and Ramondre Stevenson, and Damian Harris, all these mid-round running backs, and they have one of the best rushing attacks in the league right now.
And that's what we got to keep into account from a dynasty perspective. Because everybody on Twitter was like, "Oh, I'll tell you, you look at this news for Dameon Pierce," but it actually is valid. If a team doesn't have a large commitment, both financially and from a capital perspective, draft capital investment perspective, they are much more willing. Where if you miss a couple weeks, and this guy that they took, like for example, Travis Etienne with James Robinson, he's taken the majority of the road. We'll look at Damian Harris with Ramondre Stevenson. Damian Harris was a 3rd round pick. Like Ramondre Stevenson proved to be just as good. So they've been riding the hot hand when he's been hurt. Like there's stuff like that happens every single year. So overvaluing the raw production right away from low investment running backs tends to fucking not pay off. Because I mean, realistically, outside of Aaron Jones and Chris Carson and maybe a couple others in the last 10 years, who realistically has had a long-term career as a day 3 running back?
Yeah, you can add Austin Eckler to that list
Austin
as a
Eckler as well.
UDFA as well. Yeah, it really depends on one. You can't trust them until they get a contract, really. Like that's the
Exactly.
only time you can start trusting them. And the
And
same
at
goes
that
for
point, you don't
low draft capital quarterbacks too, because people are going to trust Jalen Hurts now, but they didn't trust Jalen Hurts last offseason. And
I
Jalen Hurts
didn't.
is probably going to get a long-term
Yeah.
quarterback contract.
And he's one I'll hold the L on, because I mean, realistically, I make that decision
I'm
again
glad I
from a
pivoted
process
last
standpoint.
offseason because I didn't like him 2 years ago, but now like last year I was like, yeah, I'm totally fine taking this
I
guy in the second round.
I pivoted a lot more last offseason as well. He ended up making my top 10 quarterbacks. But obviously, again, if you're ranking dynasty assets right now, like there's an argument you could put him above Kyler Murray. Like as soon as he
Yeah.
gets that
Oh,
long
yeah,
term,
absolutely. I think I would take him over Kyler Murray, to be honest, because I think the fantasy production from a passing perspective is way more consistent out of Jalen Hurts, and they're similar rushing wise. And I think you
I
could even argue Jalen Hurts is better in
as
that
soon
category.
as Hurts gets a long term extension, like he's immediately going to go above him.
Yeah, I think there's a chance he goes above Lamar too. I don't think I would take him
I
ahead of
wouldn't.
Lamar, but I think there's a chance the consensus will have him above Lamar.
Are they what 1 year apart? Like Lamar's 25, Jalen Hurts
Yeah,
is
they're like the
24,
same
right?
age, and if Hurts has a long-term contract, like Lamar doesn't have a long-term contract yet. He's gonna get one, but he doesn't have one yet. So,
Which let me
yeah, it's
manifest
definitely a
Miami.
concern.
Let me manifest Miami. That would be so much fun. Could you imagine
Yeah,
Lamar with that speed on the perimeter?
yeah, it's
Like,
pretty crazy.
good luck. Uh, how far have you dropped J.K., Elijah Moore, Zach Wilson in dynasty rankings?
So
Elijah
we're
Moore's
gonna
barely
do a
dropped.
November update, and
Yeah.
I actually I read this question ahead of time, and I started to sort through the running back position because I do have to make a lot of changes. I have to
Yes,
move Kenneth
I do too.
Walker. I
Oh,
already had him moved up from last time, but I got to move him up. I had to move Travis Etienne up. I moved J.K. Dobbins. He was like my RB7 or RB8 in Dynasty. I moved him all the way down to RB18. Like I moved him way down. Like, and obviously
validly so.
among younger running backs, I didn't move him down a ton, because there's, not that many, but like I'll go through right now. So where I had him before was I had him RB6 among young running backs behind Javonte Williams, Najee Harris, Breece Hall, DeAndre Swift, and Jonathan Taylor. Now, actually, again, next time I do the update, Breece Hall will be ahead of DeAndre Swift and probably Jonathan Taylor also. But I have to move J.K. Dobbins. Like, would you rather have J.K. Dobbins or Travis Etienne? Easily Travis Etienne, right? Like, J.K. Dobbins or Kenneth Walker? Easily Kenneth Walker.
Kenneth Walker.
J.K. Dobbins. Here's the real question. Would you rather have J.K. Dobbins or A.J. Dillon, Josh Jacobs, Damian Pierce? Like, are you taking those guys? And Ramondre Stevenson as well.
The only one I would take above him above would be probably the Pierce. Yeah,
I think I would take Pierce and Stevenson right now over J.K. Dobbins.
Right now, like if I had to personally make the choice of like I can't flip these assets like afterwards and I'm stuck with one like for a while, I would take Dobbins. But as you kind of said, given market value, Pierce can net me into the other range that Dobbins may not because he's playing right now.
Right, and here's the thing with these with these dynasty running backs, man. Like we gotta, as much as we like age, right, and we want to value age and being on your rookie contract and all that kind of stuff. There is something to be said for, even though these guys are 4th round running backs, Ramondre Stevenson and Damian Pierce, we absolutely know they will get workloads next year. Like I think at least we don't know that for sure, but we don't know shit about J.K. Dobbins. Like when it's unfortunate because he got injured, but when you don't capitalize on that early career opportunity of being on your rookie contract as a 2nd round running back, I don't think you're likely to get a big workload at any point in the future. You know what I mean? Like you have a very short window of the running back position to command a workload and show that you can do that.
Yeah, I'm adjusting some of my rankings right now.
Yeah, this is what I mean. Like I'm going to be making a very large overhaul to my because I had Ramondre Stevenson at 27 among running backs. I can't name 15 to 20 running backs I'd rather have more than Ramondre Stevenson because I know he's a great player. I know Damian Harris is a free agent next year. Like I would rather have Ramondre Stevenson than Cam Akers, J.K. Dobbins in Dynasty.
Yeah, I have them ranked above too. Akers and Dobbins right now I have at 19 and 20 respectively.
Yeah, like I think I might have to move them lower than that, to be honest.
I think I might have to as well.
Maybe like Dobbins, I'm probably not going to kill too much, but Akers, I just don't think he's that good. So I really have to move him down.
Montgomery are those 2 running backs.
I'd rather have Montgomery, legitimately.
How gross is that, eh?
Yeah, it's crazy that's the conversation we're having because these guys were consistently top 8 running backs in my dynasty rankings all offseason. So yeah, we're going to have a November dynasty rankings update, and that will be reflected in there to answer your question, Jared. Elijah Moore will move down a little bit, but not a ton. Same goes for Zach Wilson. Probably move down a little bit, but not a ton. Like, the real question for me at quarterback is, would you rather have Kenny Pickett or Zach Wilson?
Oh, man. Given what we've seen from the I think I would still slightly prefer Wilson, but like everything we've seen from the Jets scheme, everything we've seen from Wilson himself, I'm getting worried. Like
Yeah, I'm getting a little
I'm
worried
worried.
as well. Same goes for like Justin Fields, Tua Tagovailoa. Would you rather have those guys with Zach Wilson?
Yes.
Both of them?
Yes.
Even Justin Fields?
Yes. At least with Justin Fields, they're both bad quarterbacks, but one can run the ball.
I mean, Zach Wilson can run enough as well.
Compared to
I'm still
Fields.
gonna I will take Tua 100% over Zach Wilson, but I think I would still take Zach Wilson over
Really? Like,
Justin Fields.
but the thing is Zach Wilson right now is playing bad despite a great supporting
Well, to
cast.
be fair, coming into this week, he was a top 10 quarterback graded in PFF from the first 2 games that he played. So he did have a really bad week this week. So I want to see a couple more games before I really kill the guy in my dynasty rankings. But if they keep completely scheming around him and not letting him do anything, then that's obviously a clear sign from the coaching staff what they think of him.
Keep in mind, to be fair, on the flip side, Fields has actually played a lot better the last couple of weeks comparatively to the start of the season. And the team's actually starting to throw the ball. Great. I guess, but like the team's also starting to throw the ball. They're going to have a high pick. We're expecting them to add another player to help.
The lesson to be learned here is get 2 elite quarterbacks early, because the old quarterbacks aren't playing well. The young quarterbacks that are not the elite guys are not playing well. Hopefully you guys have dynasty teams with Dak Prescott, Jalen Hurts as your quarterbacks or something.
It's fucking crazy, right? Like, and people say it all the time. It's like, well, if I take, a running back in the top 2 rounds, I could just, draft an early quarterback next year. It's like, no, like these quarterbacks,
when the difference between these elite guys and the guys that we're hopeful for is this big, you should just take elite quarterbacks, because if you can leave a draft at the 1-2 turn with Kyler Murray, Jalen Hurts, Dak Prescott, some combination of those 2 of those 3 quarterbacks, you're going to be so far and away ahead of the rest of your league mates at that position.
It's almost laughable thinking about it. Like, which, by the way, too, going into the 2021 draft, everybody was like, oh, last year had Burrow and 2021. What would it be? Yeah, 2021. Oh, the last year's had Burrow and Herbert, and Tua wasn't as great, but like Hurts. He looks like he can be. And then Hurts had played a couple games. He wasn't really high regarded by then. And then they're like, yeah, but 2021 is going to be a better class. And now it's like
Lawrence. Well, I mean, so far the only guy that I feel confident in is Trevor Lawrence.
Yes, he's looked decent. Like first couple weeks he was awesome, and then the last couple weeks he's been terrible.
He's been good enough that, given his pedigree, I think he holds his value. Trey Lance, the injury just kind of screws him. Like, it's possible that they lose faith in Trey Lance because of the injury, because he didn't show anything, right? Like, they can't be like, you suck because you didn't play last year. He was injured, but they also didn't see what they needed to see. So they're kind of caught in limbo. It's a really unfortunate situation for Trey Lance.
With Lance, he hasn't played a full season of football in like 3 years or 4 years.
Yeah, it's brutal. And he didn't look great when he played this year too. I mean, it's a really small sample size and you don't want to judge him too much, but like, they are going to judge him on that small sample size. That's how it's going to work, right? Because that's all the information they have. So
I'm still willing to see Lance is still easily like the 2.
Would you rather have Tua or Lance right now?
I'd rather have Lance.
You'd still rather have Lance than Tua?
Because of the upside. Like I it's tough because I think Tua could be a potentially like decent, like, above average Kirk Cousins level, maybe even better type of quarterback. But with Trey Lance, like if he hits his ceiling, he's legitimately like a top 5 quarterback asset, like Jalen Hurts-esque.
I agree, but I just think that ceiling is growing further and further away the less we see Trey Lance.
And for sure, however, I'm still willing to bet on that, because at the end of the day here, hitting on a new needle mover at quarterback is the biggest advantage.
It's a huge deal. If anybody drafted Jalen Hurts in like the 3rd round, like, you just gained so much value on him. Like, it's pretty crazy. Anyways, we'll move off the dynasty topic here with Josh Palmer, but it's an interesting discussion, and we'll probably do
100%.
Maybe like a rankings update.
We should have like
fallers video. We'll do another rankings update for sure, but we might do like a risers and fallers video or something like that.
This is again, we'll workshop something, but like this off season, we should just get like a few of us, like, maybe invite a couple people and have like a round table of like just dynasty talk. Like, that would be pretty cool.
Be really fun.
Yeah, no, like that, because I mean, the market is just so fascinating. Again, that's why I love dynasty a lot, because I'm a big market guy and I love, seeing exactly what little stipulations, what little advantages I can get for myself, but still using the market to my advantage. Whereas a lot of people in dynasty, they want to like just make this hot take and stick with it.
It's all player analysis. I am first on this player. I'm going to hold them regardless of what their value is. It's like, if the market value outweighs where I think a player is, I'm going to see what they're worth. Even if I was first on that play, like for example, if Henry Ruggs never went to prison and he had a breakout season last year and he was suddenly a top 5 dynasty wide receiver for whatever reason, that would never happen because like people didn't like Henry Ruggs coming out of school.
I mean, it's
but for
happened with
whatever reason,
Waddle.
he has a monster breakout season. If that was higher than I valued Henry Ruggs, the Henry Ruggs truther, I'd be willing to sell him. Like, I think people just get caught up in like, oh, I was first on this guy. I believed in him, so I'm going to hold him. But like, if people think he's better than you think he is, then you should probably try and sell the guy. Anyways, let's move on to Jared's question here. With Josh Palmer out and only if Keenan sits, would you recommend starting DeAndre Carter or Michael Carter? If both of those guys are out, I would start DeAndre Carter.
Yeah, that's a good.
I don't think Keenan Allen's going to sit though. That's my problem with that question.
What up, dudes? How much I owe this guy in Dynasty? I traded him James Cook, James Robinson, a late first for Kyle Pitts. What? Oh, yeah, my Lord. Move. Congrats. Yeah. Enjoy those winnings, brother.
Yeah.
Raheem Blackshear balled out preseason. Is he worth an ad? I think in like Dynasty leagues or super deep, like we're talking like 10+ bench redraft leagues, I think he'd be a decent stash in case, this is a terrible team. They're going to work in negative game scripts. Maybe he gets that third down, long down and distance work.
I think I don't mind him in that guy, but yeah, I don't think either of these running backs in this backfield are world beaters. So,
which by the way, I'm not optimistic about his like actual production, but like if Foreman, let's just say, they play Atlanta next week, right? Let's just say Foreman has like a semi-decent, RB2 plus type of game because let's just say Atlanta plays down to the Panthers, which can very well happen in a divisional game. There's just going to be people in the league that think, oh, starting running back, had a good week. You use them in a package to upgrade. Like that's what I would do with Foreman. If he has a decent week and you can attach him to like, say, what's like a wide receiver? Like say you could attach Drake like Foreman to Drake London and get up into the top 10 wide receivers.
Yeah. Oh, maybe not. Oh, I thought you meant go after a wide receiver. Yeah, no, maybe you can attach Foreman. Maybe Deontay Johnson has a good game this week or something like that. Somebody like that.
Devontae and you go Smith, after like Waddle.
Like yeah.
You could use that to go after Waddle, let's just say.
Yeah, exactly. I actually picked up Foreman in my home league. I'm debating whether or not I should start him or if I should start Algier. I think I'm going to probably go with Algier this week. But
I have both of those guys.
Yeah, I have both of them as well. They're in my my final flex spot would have been reserved for Michael Thomas, but he's out again, and would have been reserved for Elijah Moore, but he's also out. So going with Algier probably, but I don't think Foreman's gonna be a bad play this week either.
I was gonna show you my lineup, but apparently I got logged out of Sleeper when my task manager got fucking fucked.
True.
So that's awesome.
What's going on, boys? Who should I start in my flex? Najee, Deontay, Pollard, or B-Rob? Also, should I drop any of Rashad White, Khalil Herbert, or Tyler Algier for Chuba Hubbard? No, all those guys have more value than Chuba Hubbard because they're all better players and they all have like contingent value. In the case of Rashad White and Khalil Herbert, if they get workloads, they're going to be better than Chuba Hubbard. Of the options that you have to start, I'd want to know if this is full PPR, because if it's full PPR, I'm definitely going with Deontay Johnson of these guys because he just gets enough targets that he can get there even if he's not overly efficient. If this is like standard or half PPR and you need like a touchdown, I think Najee's probably your best bet.
Needing a touchdown from the Steelers. That's funny.
Yeah.
No kidding.
Yeah, no kidding. Morning, guys. Appreciate the help as always. Pouring one out for the Elijahs. Yeah, I have a video coming out later today about players that you should panic about. I reached out on our Discord and on Twitter and was like, who are you guys panicked about? And I broke down 10 players, whether or not you should be panicked or you should not be panicked in that video, basically.
Did you get to the one I said?
Who did you send?
I said James Conner.
Yeah, I did get to the one you sent. Yeah,
and basically in the Discord,
the answer is absolutely yes. You should panic on James Conner.
It's tough rostering the third best running back on his own team.
Yeah, Keontae Ingram's looking like a dude.
Hey, I'm just saying, like I was wrong because I picked Ingram over Eno, but like if any, like I don't know, knock on wood, I don't want to wish anything, but if anything would happen to Eno, at least I know that Keontae Ingram's a semi-decent football player.
Yeah.
So in that offense.
Yeah.
Round 18?
I don't know if in that offense is a good defense for the Arizona Cardinals right now, but
hey, they look good against the Saints.
With Hopkins back, they looked a lot better.
But one thing, I'll eat my crow on D-Hop. I thought maybe it would be a slow out of the gates game. First game back, he hasn't played well in the last year and a half. Nah, he looked fucking awesome.
I wouldn't be shocked if you could sell him for pretty much any receiver in fantasy right now, though. I might be curious to know what he's going for.
I would say anyone tier 2 and below, because I don't think you get Tyreek.
You can sell him for Lamb straight up, like I'm doing it, like
100%.
Or AJ Brown or Debo. Like
Hopkins
I would rather have Debo than him rest of the season, and I think you can easily get Debo because of the CMC trade.
What about Waddle?
I'd probably rather have Waddle too.
Same.
But like I think Hopkins could fit into like the high end wide receiver 2, low end wide receiver
Pittman?
1 rest of season kind of area.
Pittman area?
Yeah, like I would rather have him than Pittman.
Yeah. Okay. So like that's about where I think he'd be at as well.
Yeah.
In terms of this
Deontay,
question,
Jacoby, Ramondre.
I'm
I'm
sitting
going.
Deontay.
You're gonna sit Deontay here.
I have Jacoby higher than Deontay this week.
Really? Do I have Jacoby higher than Deontay? I don't think I do.
I should. Let me actually just cheat because I do have Jacoby as a labeled as a start.
I'm looking at my dynasty rankings.
Half PPR rankings. Oh, this is PPR, I guess, but like
I have Deontay a little higher, so I would go with, especially in full PPR. I mean, they're both PPR guys, but I like
Myers.
Deontay. It should be a higher scoring game. The Dolphins are going to put up points. I think Deontay probably catches some passes in this game, so I'll take Deontay and Ramondre.
I have Myers 2 spots higher. Rationale. I mean, they're at home. They're 8-point favorites. Vegas expects them to be able to put up points, and I mean,
I think the pace of the game environment
well.
is just what appeals to me more in the Steelers game because I think it's going to be a slow-paced slugfest. Unders being hammered right now in that Patriots game. It's probably because the Bears can't score points, but I do like the Deontay side there. Need one for flex this week. Garrett Wilson, Drake London, Romeo Doubs. I like Doubs. I like London the most out of these guys. I know the Falcons are not going to throw the ball 14 times a game. I'm telling you guys right now, go buy Drake London. Like 33.1% target share is absurd for a rookie wide receiver. That is second
silly
in the NFL right now. It's better than Cooper Kupp. It's better than Devontae Adams. It's better than Jamar Chase, Stephon Diggs. All of the elite wide receivers can't say outside of CeeDee Lamb that they're commanding over 33% of their targets for their team right now. And the Bengals will force the Falcons to throw more than 14 times this game. I promise you they will not be that bad. So I think Drake London is probably the best buy low wide receiver in fantasy right now.
Drake London, I mean, hey, I'll tell you right now, I do watch the Trade Targets videos. Drake London is the epitome of wide receiver 2 priced as a wide receiver 3.
Exactly. Literally. That's exactly what you're getting right now. I tried to trade for him. I offered Deontay Johnson and Christian Kirk like individually for Drake London in my home league. And the guy knows what Drake London. He's like, I know he's a trade target of yours right now. I'm not selling you Drake London. And which is the annoying part about my home league is that they all know who I like. But yeah, Drake London, he's in my lineup and he's the best option. Garrett Wilson, also not a bad option with Elijah Moore out too, though.
Yep. Agreed. By the way, I did tell you that Elijah Moore would get benched. I told you that.
You did tell me that. Yeah, you did.
I would go Danny Bellinger slightly.
I like Dulcich, man. I have this exact situation in our listener Patreon league, and I went with Dulcich.
They're the same type of bet, pretty much. The only thing here is
I just think Dulcich was the better player.
That's fair. Yeah.
That's the only reason I went with them. And the Jets, I mean, they've been okay. They've been pretty good against the pass, so I don't want to say they're like a cupcake matchup or anything, but I think the Broncos at home against the Jets, if there was a get right game, I think they can get there. And I actually bet on their spread. They're -1, the Broncos right now against the Jets. And I took them because they're at home. I was like, you know what? I think this game's probably a pick 'em. I'll take the home team.
By the way, Corey, what are you doing on Sunday afternoon?
I'm probably watching the games with Arnold's in town from Timmins, so we're probably going to watch the games.
Because I'm actually going to Toronto because Jacob Sanderson's in Toronto, so we're going to go watch the games over there.
Oh, true.
So that'd be pretty. Yeah. So I'm going to watch the Cowboys game and then either drive over or go train over or whatever to Toronto.
True. Yeah. I mean, you're a bit closer to Toronto than I am too. So
I'm still an hour away.
Is it an hour? I thought it was like 40 minutes.
Yeah, it's pretty long. It's like an hour.
Okay. Not bad. Anyways, Canadian talk aside, y'all think the Jets actually trade Elijah Moore? No, I don't. I don't think they're going to trade him. They're not going to let themselves get strongholded into trading him. I think more the Elijah Moore. I talked about it in the video that I recorded already earlier this morning in the Time to Panic video. I think Elijah Moore is trying to stronghold them because his agent is the same agent of AJ Brown. It's the same agent of Deebo Samuel, same agent of Robbie Anderson, guys that are like forcing their way out of their teams. And I don't think Elijah Moore actually wants to leave. I think he just wants to be heard, used better. I don't think Elijah Moore's some head case diva wide receiver. I think they're going to sit him down, tell him you can't fucking do that. And next week we'll try and get you more involved. We'll get you into the slot. We'll get you, whatever. I think this situation will mend itself personally. That's my opinion. I could be wrong. They could trade him later today, and I could be dead wrong about the situation. But that's personally what I think will happen.
It's so frustrating because the role that they are using him, and I know like you kind of addressed it as well. Like he's not playing like typical Elijah Moore, and I get that. No. But at the same time, it's like they're basically just asking him to go out there, run wind sprints down the field.
Yeah.
Like run with it's so frustrating because this guy could be one of the best intermediate threats in the NFL. You
And
work him
remember
around
what
the
I said when we
formation,
had
ball.
Sycamore on doing our wide receiver matchmaker? I was like, yo, if you have Garrett Wilson, because that was who I matchmaked in New York, and Elijah Moore, those guys can be used interchangeably in the slot at Z. Just leave Corey Davis at X, let him take away the X corner, and use your other more talented wide receivers as that role. And they're using Corey Davis as the interchangeable role for some reason.
It's fucking stupid. And it's so funny too, because
so Elijah Moore absolutely has a point. Like, he is not being used correctly, but he also hasn't played at the level that he played last year.
And to all training camp, bro, this was the star of the fucking team. This was the star of the offense. So like, if you're like a management of the team, coaching staff of the team, and you see this guy fucking dominating your own secondary, who's been arguably one of the better performing secondaries comparative to expectations in the NFL, I don't understand how you can just trot him out there, play him at X every single goddamn snap. And I want to say like 35% of his routes this year have been goes.
Yeah, no, I saw that. Somebody showed his route tree and it was 35% goes, which
that's unbelievable.
Elijah Moore can do that, but it's not his strength.
But you got a 5'11", 180-pound receiver who's dynamic with the ball in his hands.
He might be closer to 5'9" than 5'11" too.
Yeah,
he's like 5'10".
Yeah, but either way, you got a smaller stature wide receiver who can be one of the
in
most
the slot is where he should be.
Yes,
you have Wilson play Z, Corey Davis play X, and Elijah's in the slot, and you mix around Garrett Wilson and Elijah on the inside. They're using him wrong. Hopefully, the situation rectifies itself. It's a 1 week disciplinary inactive. They have a sit down, they work things out like adults, and they get back on track. I think the Jets are not the dumpster fire that they used to be from an organizational standpoint. I think LaFleur and Joe Douglas and all these guys are going to sit down with Elijah Moore and hear him out. I think that's what's going to happen. I don't think they're going to trade him. London or Jacoby this week. That is a close call. London. I do actually have London at 23 and Jacoby at 25. So it is really
have
close
London
for me.
low.
But, huh?
You have London low, eh?
You have them lower than or higher than 23?
19.
Yeah, I guess. Okay, so I have him actually. I have Keenan Allen ahead of him, but I would start him over Keenan Allen. So
I have Keenan Allen ahead of him as well. Let me adjust that.
Elijah I don't know why I have Brandon Cooks ahead of him also. I would not start Brandon Cooks over him.
I will say, though, like Brandon Cooks really deserves to be like relatively high this week. I have him at 20 this week. Yeah. I think he's going to be good this week.
I just moved him down to 21, but I had him at 19. I think that was a little too high. So, yeah,
I mean,
London is where I would go with to answer your question, Domain. Would you still view Pat Freiermuth as a top 10 tight end rest of the season? Yeah, dude, people are really overreacting on Pat Freiermuth. I don't know why. He's still getting targets. I know the offense isn't great. Last week, he left with a concussion. Like,
he's really close for me.
Or 2 weeks ago, sorry, he left with a concussion. Then he was out for a game. Like, he's been pretty solid when he's played full games on the season.
Do you have the news on Schultz, by the way? Full participant practice, expected to play. Okay, so I got to adjust my rankings.
Yeah, I think he was just like not even on the injury report. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, I got him. So I'm gonna rank him up.
So this is why I'm not concerned at all with Pat Freiermuth. In the 4 games prior to him going out, because he left early against Buffalo with a concussion. 9 targets, 4 targets, 7 targets, and 10 targets. That's not tight end volume. Like, tight ends usually don't get that kind of volume.
I'm just saying, though, Corey.
He's a top 10 tight end rest of the season for me.
As solid as Pat Freiermuth is, I got to take my W on David Njoku, bro. He's fucking looked amazing.
Oh, yeah. Njoku's been great for sure. But who would you rather have rest of the season right now? David Njoku or Kyle Pitts?
I have Njoku higher in my weekly rankings.
I have him higher in my rest of season rankings. So
I think I would take Njoku. I mean, Njoku's genuine. Like, obviously, Kelsey and Andrews has been that top tier, but like Njoku has the most receiving yards amongst
Goddard as like the 3rd best tight end.
Yeah, like, and by the way, my sleepers video, like low-key fucking like absolutely has been smashing because I had like Njoku, I had Darrell Henderson, I had who else I have on that video? I had like 3 that have been like dominant compared to their ADPs.
Oh, dude, my breakouts video is probably the best hit rate I've ever had on a superlatives video. It's been insane how good those guys have been.
Dude, no cap. Our superlatives videos, like if you guys watch those videos, you're probably doing pretty well in your leagues because a lot of those guys are just like completely outperforming expectations right now. Like if we.
I'm looking at my breakout. So on the thumbnail was Goddard and Amon-Ra, who've been obviously great. Dameon Pierce, Drake London, and Rashad Bateman were the other guys in that video. So, I mean, all of those guys have been better than where they were drafted.
Bush. So Osborne and Tony kind of been dead assets, I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
But the other 3 more than make up for it.
Yeah.
David Njoku, Daryl Henderson, Chris Olave.
Yeah, that's pretty good. My sleepers video, I wish I could say it's been better, but Jahan Dotson was good before he got hurt. Christian Watson, I had the right idea, but I picked the wrong Packers wide receiver.
Yep.
And then I had Tyler Algier and who was the other running back? TDP's been terrible. So
Yeah.
He's been hurt though also. So it's been rough on my sleepers video, but my breakouts video was really, really good. Anyways.
My breakouts video is 1, maybe 2 out of 5 if ETN keeps it up. But
I mean, Ramondre was on the thumbnail, so that helps.
But Lance, Judy, and Elijah Moore don't help me.
Yeah, no. I'm really hoping this week that the Bengals get a lead early and makes the Falcons in a negative game script, causing them to throw more to London Pitts. I think that's what's going to happen. I would consider selling high on Drake London or Kyle Pitts if they have big weeks this week, because I don't think they're always going to be playing from behind. But I do think that's what's going to happen.
Russell Wilson is expected out.
Yeah, good. Honestly, good. I want to see what Judy can do with Brett Rippon. I never thought I would fucking say that in my life, but
I have Judy too. I'm excited too.
Yeah.
But by the way, I'm not sure if you've seen like some of the sideline tidbits like from the Broncos, but like you could tell like Judy's been fucking pissed off, dude.
I bet.
Like he's been pissed. Like it'll just show him on the sideline.
Out.
Yeah, it'll just show him on the sideline just going off, bro. But yeah, you have where we left off, right?
Yeah, sorry, I'm just looking at it.
Yeah,
Here.
you get.
Brett Rippon is going to start. And also the Commanders put Carson Wentz on injured reserve too, so it looks like it'll be the Heineke show for a while. But I want to see Sam Howell get in there really, really badly, to be honest.
And Wanye, I am either buying or holding because I have.
Yeah, I'm probably buying, to be honest, because I think most people are going to overreact a little bit. I just think
my running back one.
He's not my running back one. Saquon's my running back one.
I mean, like that's the only other person you could put ahead of him, in my opinion.
If you look at this team schematically, it just makes so much sense. Like, how do you stop this offense? Like, I know Jimmy isn't that good, but Debo, CMC, and Ayuk are freaks after the catch. Kittle and Juszczyk are so chess piece like movable in that offense. This offense could be unbelievable down the stretch.
And again,
like CMC's playing like 2019 CMC also. We got to remember that this isn't just like the pipe dream that they bought into. Like, he's still playing that good.
And Corey, I mean, you could check me if I'm biased here. I mean, validly so, but I genuinely think right now the top 3 teams in the NFC, Eagles, Cowboys, 49ers. Like I think that is like the top 3 teams. I think you're putting the cart before the horse on the Cowboys, but you could be up there for sure. Like it's
I think it's probably a race to find out who. I think the 49ers are the second best team in the NFC.
Maybe.
I think they are.
They could be.
I think they already had a case for it before this happened.
They definitely do.
Once the Buccaneers get their offensive line back, I think they're up there. I think the Cowboys, assuming Dak is fine, will be up there as well. It's kind of a thing here. So
it's a
we got to
rip
through some questions here because we've been kind of trolling.
Yeah, sorry.
London or ETN for flex spot PPR? I'm going London. I like ETN this week too, but I'm going London for sure.
Who's your RB2? I would be interested to see like comparative. I mean, I'm assuming you have better option than ETN. That's why you put him in the flex. So. But
concerned about Waddle's health at all. Both games he was shaken up. He was a dud. Yeah, so apparently he's got a shoulder injury. It sounds like the groin is okay with Jalen Waddle, but apparently he has a shoulder injury. The only concern that I saw some of the docs post is if somebody like drives him into the turf on his shoulder, like he might re-injure it. But for the most part, I'm not really that concerned.
So it's very similar to the Judy injury earlier this season?
Yeah.
Okay, makes sense.
It doesn't sound as severe as Judy's injury, though. It sounds like just like a grade 1, like he can play through it. It's a pain management. Just hopefully he doesn't get spiked into the turf.
It's going to be annoying because in my home league, I have Tyreek Hill and I play against Jalen Waddle.
Yeah.
So
those are the worst. I remember the 1 year I had Mike Evans and I played against Chris Godwin, and Chris Godwin had a monster game against like the Falcons. He had like 2 touchdowns and like 170 yards, and Mike Evans got like clamped that game. It was horrible. Anyways, hear me out. CMC or Ayuk in the flex.
That's too
already
far
have
down.
Lenny. Yeah,
that's too far down for me. I'm going CMC over Ayuk. That's too far down for me.
Yeah, that's too far. Yeah, okay, I agree with you there. Yeah, give me CMC there. I'm in a rebuild in my dynasty startup. I have 4 2023 first rounders. Should I trade one of the later first rounds for ETN or Kenneth Walker? I would rather have both of those running backs than a later first rounder.
Like if you can get that done, like
Kenneth Walker specifically, I think that's a fleece. I think he's going to be at least worth an early first rounder this time next year, or like
the thing with this too is I don't think anybody's going to sell you him for that cheap right now.
I think ETN is your only hope. I don't think the Kenneth Walker manager gives you that. But if he does, that's a fleece. But ETN, if you have a later first rounder, it's going to be like 9 to 12 or so. You're talking, Zach Evans caliber running back prospects, Blake Corum caliber running back prospects versus,
Or like Hendon
Etienne
Hooker
and
at
Kenneth
quarterback.
Walker, who were both better prospects than those guys.
Yeah, no, I feel you.
And have shown stuff in the NFL, especially Kenneth Walker from an ability standpoint. I think Kenneth Walker is going to be a great player. And I'm not going to take my L on Kenneth Walker because I thought he was a great running back, but he has contributed as a receiver. He's like a 20% targets per route run guy right now.
Jonathan, I actually disagree here because with Wilson, he doesn't have the decision making that a guy like Jimmy G would.
His
he's either going to smash or he's going to be
either going to be Drew Lock or he's going to be maybe not Josh Allen, but like somebody like I'm trying to think who's like a worse version of Josh Allen, like Jameis Winston, maybe like a bit better than
better than that.
Yeah,
who would be like
Matthew Stafford?
Stafford's a decent one. Prime Wentz,
maybe. I think that's probably the ceiling projection for Zach Wilson. The floor is like Drew Lock though, like it's bad.
Yeah, the range of outcomes there is kind of.
It's a high range of outcomes for sure. I don't think he would ever turn into a Jimmy G type.
In a single quarterback, I am hand delivering him Dak. For first rounder and Lance, I'm hand delivering.
Yeah, I would definitely do that, and especially in a rebuild. That's crazy. That's crazy value there. The fact that you guys are worried on James Conner feels like a good justification to rebuild in tone setters.
Dude,
yeah, you definitely made the right decision rebuilding in tone setters.
Don't get me started on that deal though, because I literally offered a better deal, and I was told that they're holding on to their pick, and then the next day they traded their pick for a worse deal. So I was a little bit tilted when I saw that, but fair play.
We haven't had a week since I made the trade with Jonathan, have I?
I don't know.
I don't think I've had Adams in my line. No, he was on bye last week, right?
Correct.
Yeah, so I haven't had him yet.
Trent, our Discord server is actually linked in every single.
No, it's so I closed it at the beginning of the season, so it is only accessible via Patreon now, and it should when you sign up, it should give you the link. But if it doesn't, Trent, just reach out to either of us on Twitter and we'll send you the link.
No, 100%. Or
but
email.
I'll make sure to double check that it does send you. It should send you the link when you sign up.
Yep. What up, Legends? D-Hop went God mode, but I think Hollywood will still be elite on lesser court or DBs. What do you think with Hollywood's ETA sooner than originally thought? Should I sell Hop and wait for Holly? I think Hop's or Holly best case scenario is going to be like a 4 to 6 week guy. But like if this is a significant foot injury, which it's expected to be, I'm not worried about his effectiveness.
A ton of faith into Hollywood coming back this year, especially given how the Cardinals are playing. Like if they're not a winning franchise, like are they going to bring Hollywood back in week 14 if they're 6-8 or something?
Exactly. Also, Judy, Garrett Wilson, or DJ Moore this week. I'm going with Judy. As gross as it sounds, maybe Brett Rippon.
Now, did Brett Rippon cause you to move Judy up your rankings? Because he probably.
I'm going to move him up. Fuck it.
Like, okay, so I had him at 31 below Curtis Samuel,
you had him
Brandon
low,
Ayuk, Alan Lazard, Michael Gallup. Like, would you start Judy over any of those players?
I would
start him over Ayuk, I think. Actually, no, they're playing the Chiefs. I'm not doing that.
I have Ayuk at 23, Johnson at 24, Gallup at 25, and Judy at 26 currently. I took the L. I had
Moore at 32. God damn it.
I had him at 34. Dude, I had Hopkins at 27. That was fucking embarrassing.
I had Hopkins at 13. So
yeah, the only reason I even had Hopkins low is I'm like, I just want to see it 1 week before.
Yeah, that's fair. I was not on. I'm like Hopkins is going to get peppered at this game. Like the Saints secondary is not good. Like it is really bad and it's really injured.
To be fair, wide receiver 27 is almost always entering your lineup anyway. So
yeah, that's fair.
I'm chilling.
Anyways, I'm worried about usage if Keenan Allen plays, but my options are DeAndre Carter and Michael Carter. If he plays, would you play Michael Carter? Or just roll him out. If Keenan Allen plays in your lineup, that's where I'm at with that. If he's out, I think if he's out,
he doesn't have Keenan Allen. He said he doesn't have Keenan Allen, but he can only play one of Carter or Carter. So it's like if Allen plays, I would probably.
I thought he had Keenan Allen for a second. Yeah, I would say you play Michael Carter if Keenan Allen plays. You play DeAndre Carter if Keenan Allen doesn't.
I'd agree with that. Pick 3: Claypool, Terry, or Wandale. Wait, those are 3 people.
No, that's. Oh yeah, I looked at Scary and thought that was a separate person.
Yeah, let me know there, Corey. Or is Woods, Pearson, Mooney in that as well? Because I would go with Scary Terry for sure. Probably Alec Pierce is one of them.
Yeah, and then
they're all in that like wide receiver 30 to 45 range.
As crazy as it sounds, I think Wandale might be third.
Yeah, or Claypool. I don't know, man.
It's either
That's
Claypool or Wandale. I don't know. I think Wandale's going to see a bigger role than he saw last week. I'm not too concerned with the fact that he wasn't running a ton of routes because it was his first game back after like a 5 week absence. I think he's going to probably be a starting
go with
third. Like he'll at least be the third receiver. I think this week.
I'll go with Claypool though, because I'm certain of his role. I
Yeah,
just
that's
want to
fair.
see Wandale's role before I trust him because he got
Yeah,
like
but
35%
Terry's
snaps.
an easy start.
Terry's a smash, yeah.
Is Breece Hall really the RB1 in Dynasty, or is Keith
As he should be.
barred out? Good luck this week, Canadian.
As he should be.
He's my RB1, yeah.
He's a 21-year-old running back who's currently he's probably top 5 to 10 running back right now in PPR. Like what's he ranked?
RB6, I think.
Yeah, like he's doing exactly what JT did 2 years ago.
Except he's 2.5 years younger than JT.
Yes.
Which is important because JT after this year is going to need a contract extension, right?
Yep.
And Breece Hall won't need one for like another 3 years.
And note to self for not note to self, but note
we
to
have to be aggressive
here.
with these running backs. When you see a running back prospect that was as elite as Breece Hall was come out and be as good as he's been, you launch him right to the top. Like he goes right to the top. That's just how it works at running
Also
back.
worth noting, if you're holding the bag on JT in any one of your dynasty leagues right now, wait for him to have a couple blow up games and then go
holding
for that.
The bag. I ain't going that far on JT.
I think it's holding the bag because realistically here, JT's going to be what? 24 entering next season.
That's a little aggressive for me.
No. But hear me out.
Saquon Barkley caliber prospect. I think he's got a longer shelf life than most.
I get that, but hear me out, right? Because he's 2 years younger than Barkley, right? Barkley's at 97.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's 2 years younger than Barkley, and we saw a couple years ago, the McCaffrey, the Barkley, they were dominating the dynasty landscape. Older running backs are dominating the dynasty landscape. Within a year, maybe year and a half, McCaffrey was a 3rd round startup pick. Barkley was a 4th, 5th round startup.
Right, but when you're talking about those elite level running backs, you're getting top 5 running back production out of them, which is the only reason you'd have them on your roster is if you were competing anyway. So don't rebuild around them. If you were holding the bag as a rebuild on Jonathan Taylor, sure. But if you're competing, I'm totally fine riding Jonathan Taylor out. He's not 24 yet. He's 23 and a half years old.
He's going to be 24 by the time the season starts next year.
Sure. Which
that's
sounds crazy. We're being very ageist towards running backs, but that's how it works at the position. If you're rebuilding around JT, go after picks and younger wide receivers
or transitions. Like
quarterback is the best transition to make because they have a way longer shelf life. But anyways, also is Chase Claypool a good wide receiver at football? This is something that I've battled like nonstop. Like, is Chase actually good? Like I can't tell.
I think he could be a really good wide receiver 3, but if he's relied upon as a wide receiver 2, he's probably going to struggle.
I think whoever called him like Martavis Bryant after his rookie year, I think that was a very accurate comparison. I didn't like it at the time. I thought he was more Metcalf than Martavis Bryant, but I think we're talking about like a Martavis Bryant kind of guy. If Chase Claypool was in a good offense, let's say, the Kansas City Chiefs had Chase Claypool or some team that needed like a number 2 target outside of like maybe Travis Kelce or somebody like that, I think Chase Claypool would be an awesome receiver for that team as like a wide receiver 2-3 in fantasy. But I don't think he has like an elite, wide receiver 1 ceiling like I once thought after his rookie season.
Wait. You want to hear something funny? LeGarrette Blunt tweeted this. Out of all people, LeGarrette Blunt tweeted this.
Okay, what did he tweet?
Never had a trade vetoed in fantasy. Is that what we doing now? Don't be salty because my negotiating skills are second to none.
That's elite. Russell Wilson out, so I think I prefer Bellinger now over Dulcich. I don't think it's a slam dunk that Russell Wilson being out hurts Dulcich, to be honest. Like it's crazy. But Russell Westbrook is out. Is Russell Westbrook playing today?
Hey, all I'm gonna say is, hopefully Russell Westbrook is out.
By the way, if Judy has a great game this week, you sell him 100%.
Yes.
Because of Rippon come. If Rippon just like feeds him 13 targets or something, like sell him. Trust me. Like I will be doing the same thing. Dude. Like if the Falcons throw 19 times again this week and Judy has 11 targets for 75 yards and a touchdown, I'm selling Judy 1-for-1 for Drake London.
Yes, 100%, dude. Like Judy is a guy you got to sell high on. I have him in my home league. I am praying that he has like 150, 200 yards, maybe a touchdown or something like that. Hey, I'm optimistic, bro. You know that about me, right?
I'm going to say 75 and a touchdown's a little bit more realistic, but yeah, it's definitely possible. Colin says, in a dynasty rebuild, what are you doing with DJ Moore and Calvin Ridley? So Ridley, I'm holding because
I'm holding both.
He has no value right now, like to a contender and like he's a contending asset because he's like going to be 29 years old next time he plays.
Agreed.
So I wouldn't sell him until he's back on the field, and he'll probably get traded this offseason if I had to guess. Or
I also think
is he a free agent yet?
Wait, Ridley?
Yeah.
He got an extension.
No, he didn't.
He did. I thought he
He's
did.
on his rookie deal still because
No
he was
shot.
because he was an older prospect and because he has a suspension year. I believe his contract is void this year,
He
and he
was
plays his
2000.
fifth-year option the next time he's on the field. If I'm
He
not
was
mistaken.
2018 class, right?
Yes, but he missed a year because of this suspension, and he was a first-round pick, so he has a fifth-year option. Like Barkley's on his fifth-year option this year in the same draft class, but because Ridley was suspended, he doesn't play that year. It doesn't accrue a year. And
dude,
so I think he's on his fifth-year option next year.
2023 is the last year of his fifth-year option. He's making $11 million.
So I think he's going to get traded personally. I don't think he's going to stay on Atlanta. I think they're going to trade him.
Can we talk about the fact that Ridley's actually like fucked from an earnings potential?
Oh yeah,
because by the time he hits the market, he's going to be 30 years old.
Well, not if a team trades for him and then extends him.
But
that could also happen.
He's going to be 29 in 2023.
Right, but we saw with AJ Brown had a year left on his deal that once they traded for him, they extended him. I think that's what a team would do if they traded for Ridley. Like if they trade like a third, like if the Packers trade a third to Atlanta for Ridley, they'll probably extend him immediately, if I had to guess.
Yeah, which they should.
Yeah. Because they also know that they won't get a long-term value out of his investment. Give him a DJ Moore or Chris Godwin level contract just to keep him happy or whatever, and then you're probably good.
By the way, too, you mentioned like selling DJ Moore. You're holding DJ Moore. The reason being is because as soon as Carolina drafts Bryce Young, there's a selling window.
Yeah, you're probably holding him. I'm not going to buy DJ Moore, though. That's where I'm pivoting from my previous strategy.
All depends on cost.
Buy DJ Moore. If you have DJ Moore, you hold him, but I would not buy him.
I will say, though, it all depends on cost, because if you can get him for as cheap as I've seen some deals with DJ Moore be, I don't mind buying him because I think his value is almost assuredly going to go up as soon as they draft a quarterback from a market standpoint.
Again, it really all depends what you're getting him for. But I think people love DJ Moore enough from a dynasty perspective that they're still going to want like something. Like I don't know if you can get DJ Moore for an early 2 anymore.
All I'm gonna say, all I'm gonna say is next year in redraft, it's gonna be fun being able to finally be validated with my DJ Moore ranking. With Bryce Young.
I'm not doing it. Not doing it
with Bryce Young.
Don't care.
If Bryce Young's a quarterback and he's getting a 25% target,
there's still going to be struggles. I don't care. I'm not drafting DJ Moore next year. Don't care. I don't care who his quarterback is. I need to see it first with him because we do it every year. We're like, he's got the best quarterback of his career every single fucking year. I'm not doing it.
I get it. And peripheral standpoint, sure. The peripherals are really good, but hear me out. 25+% target share, no CMC taking targets out of the backfield. Bryce Young added to this team. I get that, but
I'm not doing it until I see Bryce Young play like.
I would take current Bryce Young over Baker midfield.
No, I 100% would. I'm just saying I don't like. I think people are all going to do the same thing that you're saying and launch DJ Moore right back into the 4th round.
I'd take him.
If he's like a 7th round pick, I'll do it. But if he's like a 4th rounder, I'm not doing that.
You're going to change it tune as soon as
I'm not, because we're going to be talking about taking DJ Moore around guys like Drake London and like guys that are probably going to go in that range next year.
Yeah, he'll be a wide receiver too.
Like Garrett Wilson and Drake London will probably go after DJ Moore if DJ Moore gets Bryce Young as his quarterback.
I mean, I think
I'll take both of those rookies or second year, I guess, next year.
I think you're underestimating DJ Moore with a quarterback upgrade and 25+% targets.
I'm not underestimating DJ Moore. I'm underestimating is his quarterback actually upgraded, because a rookie quarterback is not necessarily an upgrade from a short-term redraft perspective. From a dynasty perspective, sure, but short-term, probably not.
And I agree with that. Obviously, comparative to a franchise quarterback. However, compared to Baker Mayfield,
Baker Mayfield sucks. Like, I'm aware. Who'd have thought Teddy Bridgewater was the best thing to ever happen?
Right?
DJ Moore and Curtis Samuel and Robbie Anderson. To be honest, all of them were great that year.
And just saying, the last time that DJ Moore played a season with CMC on the mend, he had like 170 targets. So this could be fucking ballistic.
Also got Gallup. I'm debating on whether or not I should move or hold. Gallup is a hold for sure. Yeah, he could definitely be a move if he has like a bunch of big games in a row. But I think this offense should finally start to pick up where we thought they were going to be at the beginning of the season.
He's scoring 30+ fantasy points on Sunday. So if you have him on your lineup, put him in your lineup. He's scoring 30 points.
30+. That's a huge projection. You better bet on his alt receiving yards being like 125, because it'll probably be plus 750 odds.
I might have to throw a bet on that, honestly, because
you should, honestly. Dude, alt receiving yards are the freest cash of all time, dude.
Okay.
If you predict 3 or 4 guys to have huge games, then you will win thousands on a $20 bet. Like, that's how good the odds are.
I'm going to do that. I would do that because I do think, like, okay, I know I'm biased, and everybody in here is going to know I'm a little biased, but from a peripheral weekly matchup, like DFS point of view standpoint. Second highest over under of the entire slate, 49 over under. 7-point home favorites. Dak Prescott's back. He's expected shadow coverage. Michael Gallup expected shadow coverage on the 106th graded corner out of 107 qualified corners with Amani Oruwariye.
Yeah, that's fair. Also, Oliveira's plus 420 on FanDuel to win by submission. If he wins by submission, which is how he wins, then he's a submission guy, right? Like, I don't know much about UFC, but I'm pretty sure that's how he wins,
he's
right?
so all around. He's so good all around, man.
But he won his last couple fights, I think, by submission, didn't he?
I think he's arguably the best pound for pound fighter right now. So that's a really good bet. The fact that the fact that he's even plus odds to win the fight is insulting in my opinion. You know why that is? Because he
got stripped of his title, right? And he lost. He had to DQ a fight because he didn't meet weigh-in or something. Isn't that what happened?
That's someone else. Who was that? Who that was? What's his name? Oh my god. Khabib's camp. He didn't make weigh-in. What's his name? Oh my god.
I don't know.
Last UFC card.
I'm gonna throw 25 on Oliveira winning by submission.
I have 75 on him winning straight up, and I have him in a parlay to like with 6 fights to win. So, by the way, you mentioned like cheat codes, another thing. Like I mentioned to you off air, but I was so focused for the longest time on like my parlays. But if you are like in tune with a sport or an event, and you like have knowledge above like the general market, you'd assume, because I mean, if you're following, for example, us with football or a UFC like diehard, right? If you know something is like weird with a line, feel free to exploit it. Like,
that's pretty much all sharp bettors do is exploit lines. Like I know a guy that I know is a sharp bettor, and he bets lines of D2 college football because he knows that they're incorrect. Because he's like, I know they don't spend time on this, and I know what the line should be, so I'm just going to bet it. And you make your money back just knowing that the line should have been -6 and it was -2.5.
Yeah. Which is why I laid 100 on the Cowboys line this week. I thought 7 points was a little too low.
I think you're also betting on your own team, which is always fucking dangerous.
I bet on your team too, so that'll be gross.
Also dangerous with the way they're playing. Anyways, for Zach Wilson, my comparison to Jimmy G wasn't play style. It was more the Jets trying to make something that he's not. Yeah. I mean, he is. Okay. They did kind of use him that way, like as in like just don't screw up and we'll win this game, because that's the Jimmy G mantra. But any news on Wan'Dale and his snap rate this week? I feel like he can be a sneaky flex play. I agree. I think his snap rate last week was a product of him being out for 5 games, not necessarily like
I just want to see it.
They have nobody at wide receiver. I think he's at least going to be a top 3 wide receiver in snap rate this week. And he played very minimal snaps last week and looked pretty good. So I think Wan'Dale probably earns some more playing time personally. He's a risky flex for sure, but I do think he's fine if you're screwed from Bipocalypse or whatever.
I would agree with that.
Just to be clear, Claypool, Tony, Pierce.
Yes.
Alec Pierce, I believe that is. If that's Damian, it's easily Damian Pierce. But he said pick 3, but there's 3 guys there. So
those are the ones we picked.
Okay, yeah, that would be the guys that we picked there.
I was offered Dobbins for Dubs. No, don't like. I'm not convinced Dobbins plays the rest of the season. Redraft.
Yeah, no, dude, I don't want Dobbins at all. Not a chance.
Yeah, I think he might get put on IR.
He already has been.
Oh, so he has been.
Yeah,
okay.
He got put on IR already. Yeah. Corey, I would hit on my pick'em freaking tight end caught. Oh, dude. So you had the under on Jawan Johnson's passes, receptions or whatever. That sucks. But yeah, dude. So I don't know if you guys saw like the parlay that I hit on was absolutely absurd. I hit on Hopkins over 80 receiving yards. I hit on Kamara over 50 plus receiving yards, and he only got that on the final catch of the game. And all of his receiving production came in garbage time also. I also got Olave over 70 receiving yards, under 45.5 for Zach Ertz, and then under 22.5 rushing yards for Ingram. And that's what I hit on the parlay. That was $600 on a $12.5 bet or whatever. So if you guys have any other questions, feel free to leave them down below. We've been going for like an hour and I'm like literally starving. So if you have any other questions, leave them down below, but we are going to probably head out of here as well. Make sure you guys stay tuned. Like 2-3 o'clock probably is when the Time to Panic video is going to be out. And spoiler alert, you're going to see my face on the thumbnail probably for the first time in like 2 years. Yeah, I put my face on the thumbnail because it's like I made like a panicked face. I'm like,
I might have to get you a couple pictures of me.
Yeah, I don't know. I feel in a time to panic video, it seems like a valid thing to put yourself on the
Fair.
thumbnail because you're panicking.
It's for us too, like especially when we have more like conceptualized videos, like in the off season, that'll be like more fun to work with and fiddle
Yeah,
around with.
yeah, but like I'm not gonna be like running back starts and sits and like put my
Yeah.
face on. Like it just doesn't make any sense to me. It's like time
Yeah,
to
no, I
panic
feel you.
is like I'm panicked in the
Yeah.
picture. So
Um, and one other quick thing I want to say, if you guys have, like, I know this is such a Canadian thing. If you're ever in Canada and you want a cheap, funnish time, like we got, so me and Marco, we got 2 tickets for the Cats game last night, $30 a piece, and we're on
nobody
like,
knows who that is. The Hamilton
okay,
Tiger
so
Cats of the CFL.
the Hamilton Tiger Cats Canadian Football League. We got 2 tickets, $30 each. We were on the 8-yard line, or the 8th row from the field, and they won on a walk-off field goal to, like, if Saskatchewan loses this weekend, they're going to clinch a playoff spot now. So that was last home game of the year. It was a fun time.
Yeah, true. Is
Yeah.
Bush going to be sweating on the thumbnail? I wasn't going to be, but I can throw some little like some sweat on
Don't go
my face if I
extra.
want to. So I might dabble with that. Appreciate the feedback there. So, anyways, make sure to check that out. That'll be live. I got to edit the thing and put it up, but it'll be live at latest for 3:00, probably 2:30,
W.
most likely. So make sure to check that out. Also, must start or sit running backs live from yesterday. It's doing really well. Appreciate all of you guys tuning into that. Check out the wide receivers that Danny did on Thursday.
Yep.
Live tomorrow morning around 11:30 as usual. But yeah, we'll be heading out of here. Take it easy, fellas. Enjoy your Saturday.